Yo, I'm Jeremy, and welcome to our crib. Hey guys, we just wanted to give you an all-around tour of our van, which I found really helpful back when I was shopping for vans, which took quite a while actually to find the right one. And so we just want to give you a quick look around the outside and the inside. Let's go ahead and start with the outside of the vehicle. So I bought this van about a year ago, last August, and from a company called Ground Summit in Chattanooga. It's a couple named Jason and Deanna. They lived van life for 2 years, and when COVID hit, they moved back home and started renovating vans. And they were about halfway through this build when I contacted them, and so we were able to kind of work together to finish the build, which is great. So this is actually a 2011 Mercedes Sprinter. It is the 170-inch wheelbase, which is the longer version, and it's also a high roof model, which is really important because Mia and I are both tall. As far as the engine goes, I can't really tell you much about that. It seems like I've run into a few people who ask a lot about the engine, and I end up just kind of agreeing with what they say. Can't get much into that, but let's go ahead and get to the exciting part and get on the inside. Now that we're inside the van, let's start with the most exciting part, which is this very, very basic front portion. Really not a lot of bells and whistles up here. I mean, everything is pretty basic. One thing the people did install is this back camera, which is really handy because you can't see behind you ever. The only trick is you have to remember to unplug it, because if you leave this plugged in, it runs off the car's battery, and we learned that on our test trial trip when we went camping. We also have a phone holder up here. That's what we use, obviously, just for directions. I bought a speaker that we leave up here. Not much else going on up here. I mean, just, you know, a few places to store things up here. We don't really use anything here other than to hit our heads on. And then, you know, a couple cup holders, and that's pretty much it up here. Right behind the driver's seat and passenger seat, we have this headliner shelf that the people that built the van put in for us, and this is basically all my golf clothes up here. I have all my shorts, all my golf shirts, and so I basically know it's laundry day once I start seeing this tick pretty far down, get pretty low. When we travel, it kind of becomes a bit of a catch-all. I put a lot of things up here, but for now, today, it's very organized and clean. And when it's really hot in the van, like it is right now, we have all of our window covers that we put behind the front seat there. So we toss these up, obviously a huge one for the front, and then we basically measured and cut out ones for the rest of it that we put up when either we want privacy, or it's too hot outside, or it's at nighttime and we don't want to have basically like a huge fishbowl effect in here.
So we are traveling with 2 little dogs, which means that they get their own beds. Usually, you know, we have the 2 beds on the ground, which takes up a lot of room. So if we are not using both of them at the same time, we'll stack one on top of the other. And the dogs love this because we call it mega bed. To completely get it out of the way, if we're trying to make dinner or just hang out, we'll throw both of these up on the front seat. There you go. Nice leg room. So much room to do activities. And next we have our cabinets. This is where we keep all of our dry food. These we keep our snacks, and we have everything labeled. It's just easier that way. We actually brought those from our home in Nashville. These are great because nothing falls out when we're driving. This is where we keep bigger, bulkier items. A lot of times we'll keep Jeremy's bananas here, or if we have other types of fruit. Same thing on this side. Kind of shoved all of my running stuff in here. So, you know, we have our pastas and our flours if we're trying to make something fun. And then we have cabinets on this side as well. This is where we keep our spices, and then we'll put our bread up here. Cups, and anything where it kind of just doesn't have a place but it's food related, we'll throw up here. In this one, we have all of our condiments. Don't look, it's messy! But we just love all of our food, so, you know, we want to spice it up as much as we can. Last but not least, this is where we have our fridge. This is where we keep all of our stuff that needs to be cooled. We don't have a freezer, so if anything does need to be frozen, tough. It's the size of a cooler. So you just open it up. We need to do some grocery shopping. We're currently out and we just washed our fridge again. But you have a top shelf here, bottom shelf there. It's big enough to put a couple nights meals in. Anything more than like 2 or 3, we're just jamming it packed, and so nothing stays cool that way. This has a nice lock on it, and so when we're driving it, the door doesn't swing open or anything.
This is our table area. It's our kitchen, it's our office, it's our dining room table. We eat most meals right across from each other right here. Mia works on that side most of the day. This is kind of my seat, that's her seat. The only bad thing about this is that this wobbles like crazy. And so if you're trying to like write by hand on it, it kind of moves around some, or obviously when we're driving it, it wobbles. This also converts down into a couch if we wanted to. We just never use that feature. But technically, like, this piece would come down here. We have other cushions that would lay across there, so it would be like a small couch. We just didn't really see scenarios where we would use that too much. As you'll notice in a Sprinter van, everything is basically a compartment, so everywhere you look, you'll see something that pops out. So here, this is where I keep all my electronics. That back bag there is just kind of catch-all for cords and drone batteries, everything like that. Down below, this is where I toss a lot of my golf stuff, so I have a lot of paired up stickers and that kind of thing, and then just different paraphernalia that we kind of get along the way.
And on my side, this is the fun drawer. I mean, it's only half fun. This is where I keep my work stuff, but also we keep all of our board games. So, you know, if we have a night where we're not doing anything, we can pull it out. And then we also have stuff like my work computer or Wi-Fi, any cords that we need things plugged into.
When I first got the van, I was really excited to show Mia one thing in it, and one thing only, basically, and that was the toilet. What you would do is, it's in this drawer here, you slide this out, and it's just a little portable one. You could flip this up, do your business. That would then go down into that dark gray container. You would take that out, dump that out somewhere. When I first showed Mia this, I was like, hey, check this out, we've got this toilet right here, and she instantly said, yeah, I'm not using that. So we have not used it yet, thankfully. It's kind of there basically just in case of emergency.
Alright, so over here we have a little bit of storage. It's not a ton, but actually it makes a big impact on where we kind of put stuff. In this first drawer, it's go-to things that we need right away when we're heading out the door. Sunscreen, bug spray, and then we also have our remote for one of our fans. Down here, we've actually been collecting magnets from every state. So we keep those down here. We have battery, string. I mean, who doesn't need that on the road? Kleenex, always really important. We also have our array of candles.
We have 2 fans, one up front, one in the back. We have this one running quite often, not when we're driving, but whenever Mia's in here working or we just need some air circulation, and pretty much every night. This one's pretty neat because it actually has a remote control too. The one in the back doesn't have a remote control because it's easy to get to, but with this one you just press, I can't do this, whatever. This has a remote control that sometimes works. What's the difference?
I have the magic power.
How does that work? Anyway, they blow in, or they can blow out. You can have the windows open. It can kind of create this effect where it blows up and out through there, circulates air. Anyway, we also have this fan that we bought. It's a wireless one that we just charge whenever, like usually at night, and we just clip it onto the cabinet right here. We point it towards the bed, so when we're sleeping we have a fan on us, and it actually feels pretty good. And another super exciting feature is the water. This is where our, our sink water comes out of, and this is our fresh drinking water. This has a 5-gallon filtered water tank that comes up out of the bottom of the sink here, underneath the sink, and then this empties out into a 5-gallon gray water tank. Gray water is just like the wastewater that you dump, basically collects all your water. Below down here we have a 25-gallon tank that runs kind of the length of the van on that side, and that's what feeds the sink here. And we just fill that up at like gas stations and kind of anywhere we can find a spigot. The way you use those is you turn these on with these switches right here. That is for the filtered water. That is for the sink water.
going to show you all of our storage that we have for our kitchen specific stuff. Each drawer has a purpose and everything in it has its place. Some of our cooking utensils, or we have scrubber. This is what we use to brush our skillets with. This is where we keep our bowls and our plates, and then our Tupperware. And here is where we keep all of our cleaning stuff. This is our vacuum. It actually works pretty well and it charges on a USB. This is where we normally hang our rags that is currently being washed. Over here is where we have our eating utensils. Here we have saran wrap foil. These are our dish towels and our cutting board. This next drawer, we love this, a colander for our pasta. These are also where we keep our skillets, and then we bring bags for when we go into the grocery store. This is our dogs drawer. Anything dog related goes into here. We have their foods, their leashes, their poop bags. It just makes it easy so that way everything is just in one spot. Up on our countertop, we have our hand soap and our dish soap. We actually have, I don't even know what these things are called, but we put them under both of these so that way they don't slide around when we're traveling. This is super handy. This is where we dry our dishes after we wash them. And also hiding a spot that Jeremy did.
What I did like though is this wallpaper back here kind of gives it a cool look, gives a break from all the shiplap that's everywhere else in the van.
To get up on the bed, you actually have to take a running jump start and kind of just throw yourself up.
That's not true. That's not true.
We have this nifty little step here. You pull it out and it does carry both of our weight. So you just step right up and hop into bed. And when you're done with it, you can just close it and it just disappears.
Hello and welcome to Meditation Hour with Mia.
Alright, this is our bed, guys. Super nice and spacious. This is actually a queen size bed. It's really nice. We each have our own side. And what's really cool is that we also have these cubbies up on either side of us, so that way we can put stuff that we usually access at night instead of a nightstand. And we have cabinets. We also have these USB chargers on both sides of our beds. They are really bright, and so I had to cover mine because the green light was shining directly into my eyes every single night. We also have 2 small windows on each side of our beds. It's really nice because if we go somewhere and there's a nice cool breeze, you can just open it up and it flows right through here. The dogs also like to sit up here and just stare out the window.
So we have all these can lights that run through up top here in the ceiling. These first 3 or 4 are controlled by this light switch down here. It's just a touch switch. You just touch the power button there, those come on. You can have them bright, you can dim them. And in the kitchen area we have 2 sink lights that come down from up top here. They're on very dim. Now they're on bright. And then we also have the same thing over here too. This is for the kitchen table / office / dining room table. The last set we have is back here for the bedroom. We don't really use these too terribly often, but there's 3 lights that are over the bed. So down here is what we call the garage. That's everything underneath the bed. We'll probably show you a lot of that from the outside, be easier to see, but one key component is the battery down here. This is what our solar panels on top go to. So we have 2 150 watt solar panels above. Those go to this battery right here. So you can plug in, your regular 12 volts. You can plug in USBs if you'd like to. Our fridge is plugged into like the cigarette lighter part of it. But it's a Yeti battery and it's been great so far.
So this is where we actually keep our toiletries down here. They're out of the way, but they're easy enough to access when we do need them.
So we're now in the back of the van in what we call the garage, and this is basically where all our storage goes. We have a ton of storage in this van because our bed is kind of high, and so that allows us a ton of room down here below. So what you're seeing back here is we have our camp stove. This has 2 burners on it, and down here we just have a Tupperware with our suitcases in it. This is a table that we use for cooking, and we have a toolkit on the left side, our camping chairs, and our hose that we hook up to gas stations or wherever else we get our water from. And then we also have an extra drinking water, purified water back there. On the right side here are my golf clubs down here, and our shoes kind of back underneath the golf clubs. We also have our weights on this right side. This is our dresser up here. This is where all of our clothes are. Right now we're kind of in the midst of doing some laundry, so it's not as full as it typically is, but all my clothes are on these two. Mia's clothes are on the other two that are across from each other there. And I usually come and get my clothes from the back. It's just easier for me to reach them back here. Mia usually crawls underneath. And speaking of where we fill up our water, this is what we'll unscrew here, put the hose in back here, and then this goes into this 25-gallon tank. And then on this left side here we have another option to plug in something into, I always call these cigarette lighters, I'm sure there's a better name for them. But this is where I think ideally you would hook up an outdoor shower if you wanted to use one of those. When you open and close the door, you'll see this black hinge right here slides in this way. So when you open the door all the way like that, it locks into place, which is handy. But if you wanted to open it even more, you pull this off, this slides around, and the door actually hooks to a magnet on the outside of the van, so that way you could have both doors completely open.